U.S. District Judge Colleen Collar-Catelli, she's in D.C., she issued an injunction blocking certain parts of Trump's executive order that is intended to secure and protect elections and the integrity of elections. Specifically, now catch this, specifically, this injunction affected the executive order's provision that requires proof of citizenship before registering to vote in a federal election. You're kidding me. Now, to back this up, the judge says that only Congress or Election Assistance Commission has the right to make those kinds of decisions. So, is the judge right? Or is this yet another case of activist judges gone wild? Well, here to discuss this with me by phone is Cleta Mitchell. Cleta is the Senior Legal Fellow at the Conservative Partner Institute, as well as the founder of the Election Integrity Network. I don't know of anyone who knows this issue any better than she does. She's been involved in dealing with election law for 40 years. Cleta, welcome back to Washington Watch. Always great to have you.
Thank you very much, Congressman. It's so nice to be with you.
Well, let's start with this executive order. The title of it is Preserving and Protecting the Integrity of American Elections. I mean, this is what we all want. So what is it in this executive order? What basically does this do?
Well, it does several things, and I think that the White House did a very good job of crafting it carefully and within the requirements of existing federal law. And the first thing it does is it says that the Election Assistance Commission, the EAC, should amend the federal voter registration application to provide not just a box that you check to say that you're a citizen, but documentary proof of citizenship. And it also has another set of, it says that the documents to be accepted are those that people provide at the DMVs in order to get a real ID. And it's very simple. I mean, the people have been taking those documents to the motor vehicle agencies for 20 years. That bill was passed, the Real ID law was passed in 2005. All states have been compliant with it since September 2020, and it takes full effect on May the 7th. And all that means is you have to be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident with legally in the United States in order to get a Real ID, and that's what you have to board a commercial airplane, in order to enter a federal building, or in order to enter a federal military installation. And this would just extend that to saying that you have to be a citizen to register to vote. Now, the judge, and there are other parts of it, but this was the biggest part, and the judge says, oh, no, the president has no authority, and he's changing election rules. What the judge does not pay any attention to is the fact that the federal statutes, there are 5 federal statutes that govern elections, and all of those federal statutes require and vest the Attorney General of the United States with enforcement authority. Well, the Attorney General of the United States is the president's designee. So by congressional act, the Congress has said that the executive branch of the federal government has enforcement authority. This judge just pretends that those laws don't exist, pretends that there's no statute that makes it a criminal offense for someone to misrepresent on an official form their citizenship status, ignores the fact that it's a criminal offense for an alien to register and vote in the United States in a federal election, pays no attention to the fact that the Real ID law already requires that people provide citizenship documents in order to get an ID. I mean, it just basically disregards, does not pay any attention to the fact that the Attorney General, again, the President's Attorney General, has responsibility under federal law for enforcing the National Voter Registration Act, which is in charge of, that's where we got the registration at the DMVs 30 years ago, the motor voter law. So This judge has just picked and chosen various provisions of law, and it utterly disregards the role of the executive branch of government that has been vested by Congress with the responsibility and enforcement power for these federal laws. And just says, well,
Wow.
the president
All right.
is changing rules.
All right, Cleta, this is precisely why I wanted you to discuss this, because you just nailed it. I mean, that puts the whole case out here. Now, on the other side, and we've got less than 2 minutes here, but we do have the House earlier this month passed the SAVE Act, which would require proof of citizenship before voting in federal elections. So there's yet another bill coming. This is now in the Senate. What do you think is going to happen with that bill? Is that going to get across the finish line, do you think?
Well, I'll tell you something. I'm becoming pretty distressed at the fact that the Republican majority in the Senate is not figuring out how to start legislating again. They're just rolling over and playing dead. And the Senate of the United States is not trying to figure out. John Thune needs to figure out how to get the Senate back to work. And they say, oh, well, we have the filibuster. Everything requires 60 votes. Well, no, actually it doesn't. There are things in the rules, and it's time that the Senate started back to work. If they made the Democrats actually go and meet the requirements of the Senate rules for a filibuster, if they were there on the floor and they made them, they have a pretend filibuster because the Republican senators don't want to stay in the chamber. They don't want to stay in Washington. They don't want to work. And I'm saying it's time that all of us started saying, make the senators speak. You want to have a filibuster? Make them speak. Make the senators work. Make the senators vote. Because it is time that we were able to function again, and Congress needs to start legislating again.
Amen, amen, and amen. Cleta Mitchell, so great to have you always. Cleta is the founder of Election Integrity Network and the senior legal fellow at the Conservative Partner Institute. Cleta, great to have you. Thank you for your insight.
Thank you so much.